A few days ago I came out here. I was standing by the front gate there, and there was 4 people on the road, and a lady approached me and said, "I hope you don't wonder what we're doing. My father was evacuated here during the war, and he's just come to have a look at the place." So the guy introduced himself to me. I think his name was James, and I said, "How old are you, James?" He said, "I'm 84. Well, that beats me by 2. But anyway, I'll continue in a minute. So James came through here and he looked at this building and he said, "It wasn't like that when I was here." Well, it wasn't. It was a dovecot in those days, and it's been built up since then. And he came round here and he looked at this and said, "It's nothing like it was when I was here. No," he says, "the whole place was covered in hen sheds, and there was no fences. And the hens went up the hill, and we had to go and get the eggs. In the war, that would have been quite a prime commodity to have." And anyway, we went up the garden. So I chatted to James. He remembered the burn. He said there used to be fish in there. I have seen fish once or twice, but not lately. And as he came up here, he said it was nothing like this at all. This was just overgrown. And so I asked him how long he'd been here. He'd been here a couple of years, I think. He says he used to go underneath the bridge and wish he was back in Glasgow. At that time, the owner of the house had been a Miss Johnston. Well, I knew that because I have a friend, David, who is now dead, but Miss Johnson was his auntie, and the configuration of the house has completely changed since James's days here. He told me that there was no running water in the house, and they had to go along the road and draw water from a burn. There was a pump in the back where they pumped water up to the toilet. He didn't know where the water came from, but I do. It came from my pond. More in a minute. Yeah, we got up this far. This was completely impassable. It was brambles and long grass and God knows what around the edge. But he says he used to go up the burn and there was a pool at the top, which was in fact a pool when we first came here. It's been sort of diminished since then. But there you are. So when James came to go, I said, "Come back and see us anytime." He says, "No," he says, "I'll not be back." Anyway, the question of refugees put me in mind of my own experiences. My granny had a large house in Gretna during the war, and she was going to take refugees. So we were living in a cottage at the end of the drive. We moved in with Granny, and the refugees went into the cottage. And they were from Glasgow too. And they were sisters. One had dark hair and brown eyes, and the other had blue eyes and fair hair. They were Annie and Margaret. And they had terrible quarrels. They didn't get on at all. And this day they'd had this terrible fight. One had slapped the other and called them names. And I went in to lunch in my granny's house, and I'm sitting there. This must have been about, I think it was 1942, because it was after the bombing. That was 1941. So 1942, I'm sitting there. I would be 6. And I said to my mummy, "Mummy, Annie and Margaret had a dreadful quarrel today." And she says, "Oh, did they?" "They slapped each other," I said. She says, "Did they? And they called each other names." "Did they?" I said, "Mummy, what's a fucking cunt?" And she said, "It's not something very nice, dear. I don't want you to play with those girls again."